Hey people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new original book tag. I decided to create a new original book tag dedicated to reading slumps because I feel like people don't really talk about reading slumps and like really embrace them. I feel like people really talk about like defeating reading slumps or whatever, but people don't really talk about like embracing them. So I decided to embrace it and like talk about it in this original book tag. Not that I'm in a reading slump right now, because I'm not, but I just decided to like embrace it and like talk about it more in depth. You know what I mean? So anyway, here we are. The first question is, define a reading slump. For me, a reading slump is when I'm not in the mood to read. That's simply it. That's all there is to it. The second question is, how frequently do you have reading slumps? For me, honestly, I don't have them very often. In fact, the third question is, when was your last reading slump? My last reading slump was like almost 2 years ago. It was in the middle of 2020. So, yeah. The fourth question is, what causes a reading slump? For me, it's like bad mental health, basically, and that's how you know that I'm doing like really, really poorly, because I use reading as a comfort and as a way to like escape whatever's going on in my life. So like if I'm not in the mood to read, to escape whatever's going on in my life, that's how you know that I'm not doing very, very well, because like I'm not in the mood to read, but I'm also not in the mood to do like anything else. You know what I mean? Because like I often use my hobbies, whether it be reading or writing or listening to music or whatever, to escape like my troubles or whatever. So if I'm not in the mood to like escape my troubles through like my creative outlets or whatever, it means that I'm really not doing well. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. I always think that I'm not making any sense, but I'm always like underestimating my own like eloquence or whatever. So anyway, the next question is, how long does a reading slump typically last? So for me, honestly, a reading slump doesn't last longer than 3 to 4 days. And I know that I'm very, very lucky to say that, because most people like say that their reading slump lasts like months or weeks or like whatever, or even years. But for me, honestly, a reading slump doesn't last longer than like 4 to 5 days. So yeah, there you have it. The next question is, do you feel guilty when you're not reading? Why or why not? I absolutely do. And I know that I shouldn't, but I absolutely do. Because for me, when I'm not reading, like I feel guilty about it or ashamed, because I feel like I can't like maintain my booktube brand, because I feel like if I'm not reading and I'm not creating content or whatever, I can't maintain my brand on booktube. And my brand on booktube is that I'm a very avid reader, that I'm reading all the time, that I'm reading so frequently and whatever, and that's a brand that I've created, even though like I created that specific brand unintentionally. You know what I mean? I just feel like I won't be enough for booktube if I'm not like pleasing the people, like the audience of the viewers who are like watching my content and watching and like eating up all my content and eating up the fact that like I read literally so frequently. I read literally so much. And don't get me wrong, it's a true fact that I did indeed read 403 books in 2020, and then in 2021 I read 336 books, but I wasn't like satisfied with that number, because like it wasn't enough for me, and I don't know why it wasn't enough. I just wanted to hit a higher number for whatever reason, even though I didn't set a numerical goal. And I knew that, like I knew that I didn't set a numerical goal, because I'm trying to unlearn that like it's not about the numbers and that I don't have to hit a numerical goal. But like I felt like it wasn't enough, which is why I never talked about like my 2021 reading wrap up. Like I never made one, because like the amount of books that I read in that year was not satisfying to me at all, because like I wanted to read more. And like every time that I don't read enough books each month, I always feel guilty or bad about it, even though I know I shouldn't, because like it's not enough for me for whatever reason. And if like I'm not enough for like other people, how can I be enough for myself? I don't know if that makes any sense at all, especially since like I don't know if I'm even like pleasing like the people or like the audience or like whatever, of like who's viewing my content. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but basically I do feel guilty and ashamed when I'm not reading, because I feel like I can't maintain my booktube brand on BookTube. Like, I never cared before about whether or not the number of books I read was enough until I joined BookTube. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But basically, like, I care more about, like, the number of the books I've read. Because, like, if I read a lot of books in a month and they're all really, really good, then I can create, I feel like, better content, because I love creating content surrounded by, like, books that I've really, really enjoyed, because I don't like making videos about books that I've not liked. You know what I mean? I think I've said this before, but I don't like making videos about books that I've disliked, and I prefer making videos about books that I've really, really liked, because I'm more passionate and excited about the books that I've really liked than the books that I've disliked. So, like, if I've read a slew of, like, really mediocre, disappointing books, then I feel, like, bad about it, even though, like, taste is subjective or whatever, and I know that I shouldn't feel bad, but, like, I don't know if that makes any sense, because at the end of the day, I know inherently that the audience, like, the viewers or whatever, don't care either way. Like, I don't know if people really truly prefer it if I give book reviews of books that I've, like, really enjoyed versus books that I didn't really enjoy. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but basically, I definitely do feel guilty when I'm not reading, or when I'm, like, not in the mood to read or whatever, because, like, I feel like I can't maintain my BookTube brand, even though I literally created my own brand, and I can change my brand at any time. Like, I can change the way that people view me on BookTube, on, like, an internet platform at any time, or maybe I can't. Maybe I can't control the way that people view me, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter the number of the books I read, and I know that. And I know that at the end of the day, I am enough for BookTube, even though sometimes I feel like I'm not. Because, like, I tie, like, my value as a booktuber to the views and to, like, what people want, or what I think that people want. Because at the end of the day, I don't actually know what the viewers want from me. I don't actually know if the viewers like or dislike how I've maintained my brand over time or whatever. But I just think that people do, because I just think that that's what people want. And like I mentioned, like, how can I always think to myself, like, how can I be enough for BookTube if I think that, like, my value, like, I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but, like, how can I be enough for myself if I'm not enough for other people? And I don't know why I think that I'm not enough for other people if, like, I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But basically, long story short, to answer the damn question, since I'm going off on a fucking tangent for no reason. Anyway, do I feel guilty when I'm not reading? Why or why not? Yes, I do. I do absolutely feel guilty, because, like, I tie, like, my value as a reader and as a booktuber to, like, my content. Again, I don't know if that makes any sense at all. I feel like my rant doesn't really make any sense. But anyway, the next question is, how do you defeat a reading slump? For me, I simply take a break from reading. Like, I just stop reading. Like, there's nothing wrong with embracing, like, not reading. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point of this book tag, is that there's nothing wrong with being in a reading slump, and there's nothing wrong with, like, not reading. So for me, I defeat a reading slump by, like, giving into that, and basically embracing the fact that I'm not in the mood to read. Because for me, like, the mood of wanting to read again always returns. Like, it returns after 5 business days or whatever. Like, it always comes back to me. I know for some people, like, maybe it doesn't, and, like, whatever, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with not reading or not wanting to read or whatever. Like, just because, like, for me, like, just because I'm known as, like, an avid reader or whatever, it's okay if, like, I'm not reading a book every single day or whatever. But for me, like, I feel bad when I'm not reading, because I feel like I've created, like, this brand, this reputation, this, like, stereotype or whatever of, like, reading every single day. So I truly feel bad and guilty when I'm not reading every single day, even though, like, I know that I shouldn't be. So, like, anyway, the point is, that's the end of this book tag. I know that the majority of it was just me going off on a tangent about how, like, I feel guilty when I'm not reading, but, like, the point of this book tag is to embrace that and to know that, like, there's nothing wrong with not reading or, like, being in a reading slump. You know what I mean? Anyway, the point is, I hope that like you enjoyed this video, or like you got something out of it or something. I hope so. I truly hope so. Or else like the whole video was like pointless or whatever if like you didn't enjoy it. Which is also something else I'm trying to unlearn, because at the end of the day, it should matter more like what I think of my content than what you think of my content, or what I think you will think of my content. Again, I don't really know if that makes any sense. But anyway, if you enjoy this video, I tag you if you're interested. And please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below the penguin emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!